Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to my very late review of Marvel's What If. This time I'll be talking about episode 4, What If Doctor Strange Lost His Heart. Now, I actually enjoyed this a bit more than other people, interestingly, for the same reason that people didn't enjoy, or that I didn't enjoy, the What If Earth Lost Its Mightiest Heroes episode. But we'll go a little bit into that into the end. Right now, let's just get into a breakdown of what actually happened and my thoughts as I was watching it happen. So we immediately start off with the Watcher sitting in like the skyline of the city of New York as the episode is starting. So the Watcher's presence is felt and seen from the beginning of this episode. And at this point in time, it was very uncharacteristic of the Watcher to be seen so prominently in the episode. He'll usually like pop in and be like, hey, what's going on? And then pop out. But this time he was like sitting on the skyline like, oh yeah, I'm here for this one. Got my popcorn and everything. So I thought that was especially entertaining and interesting to see if like maybe he would be more involved, which he kind of was. But moving on from that, it was also interesting to see that Strange had a actually really healthy and good relationship with Christine, which we did not see in the normal like Earth 616, I think, universe, where Doctor Strange and Christine they did have a relationship, but now they're kind of just frenemies, more so friends than enemies, but there's a little bit of bitterness, I guess. They weren't as healthy as they were in this show, so it was nice to see Strange having a really positive relationship with a lady friend. And then I also noted, I made these notes like a while back when this first premiered, and then everything else will be fresh. But it's just funny to look back at them because my next note is a dangerous driver, which is very true. If you guys have seen the episode already, which I should have said spoilers at the beginning, but at this point, it's been out a long time. So did you really want to see it if you haven't seen it already? But yeah, even without the whole car crashing, the other car crashing in the Strange's car multiple times, he is a dangerous driver. And because of his recklessness and the other drivers, Christine does end up dying in a car accident, which mirrors the car accident from the movies, where Strange loses the ability to articulate with his hands very well, which is why he has to retire from being a surgeon and look for greater means and become a like wizard and like look for the Sanctum Sanctorum and all that stuff. I also noted that when we finally get to Strange sitting in the Sanctum Sanctorum drinking the cheap stuff, as Wog said, watching the rain come down on the window pane. I can't remember what movie did this, but it's interesting to see like the rain coming down the window pane and seeing those like being reflected on the faces of the characters, because it's kind of like, you really feel for Strange in that moment. Like he's not necessarily crying with his own eyes, but like the atmosphere is kind of creating those tears for him. Now, my next note is literally Dubby goes down the same road and person crashes into him again. So at this point, Strange, it has taken the time stone and has gone back in time to see if he can try and save Christine. So for some reason, his first attempt is to do the exact same thing he did before, or almost the exact same thing, going the same road and everything. So of course, a similar outcome was going to come out, and then we see all the different things that he tries. Like he tries not to show up, so Christine's like stranded. He tries. They actually do make it to his like celebration thing, and then Christine naturally has a heart attack. He takes her out for pizza. And at this point, I was like, why would you take her out for pizza if you saw her have a heart attack? I don't know. But while they're out for pizza, there is a random gunman that comes into the pizza shop. And apparently, I guess just as far as we know, shoots Christine and nobody else. And some people theorize that the gunman is actually Strange Supreme. But that does beg the question as to why Strange Supreme would do that to Christina. like, yes, it influences Doctor Strange to want to keep doing the cycle to create Strange Supreme. But I feel like if you were in love with somebody, even if it was to try and motivate your past self to become your present self, it would be a little contradictory to kill the person that you love when the whole reason you're doing it is to save them. I don't know. You tell me down in the comments below. Am I wrong? Who do you guys think it is? Do you guys think it doesn't matter? I kind of feel like it doesn't matter. Like, it was time, jinx stuff, things happen, I guess. So after looping again and again and again, the Ancient One shows up after Strange has crashed his car into the water, and Christina's dead, and he's like, oh my gosh, like, I just want to save you. Why can't I save you? Like, are we not meant to be together? And the Ancient One pops up and is so rude. It's just like, oh, are you having car trouble? Like, clearly, they've seen this whole event transpire, and this to show up, be like, oh, you having car trouble, buddy? Like, I'm like, dang, you could have been a little bit more sympathetic, Ancient One. But what ends up happening after that is that Strange is like, hey, listen, you could help me. And she's like, no, I won't help you. She's like, okay, fine. I'll just get enough power to change time or bend time to my will. She's like, no sorcerer's ever been able to do that before. You're not going to be able to do it. He's like, you don't know anything. Shut up, Mom. And as they're getting into like a little bit of a scrap, the Ancient One hits him with this blast that splits him into two, but we don't really know that till later on the episode. So we just keep following the Strange that we've been following for the whole episode, and he has actually been sent to the Library of Cagliostro, I believe it's called. If not, my bad. And there he meets a strange man named Obing, I think it is. And he calls him Armani because, like, Strange tries to introduce himself, and Obing's like, oh, you're strangely dressed. He's like, it's Armani. So he's like, okay, welcome, Armani. He's like, no. Okay. So Obing has actually been a part of the library, the Library of Cagliostro, for who knows what amount of time before Strange arrived there. But later on in the episode, we'll see that, like, he lived for centuries after they met, and I don't know how that was possible. Like, he was saying to Strange, I guess I'll wait until we get to that part of the episode, but I don't know. It's strange how he was able to live for so long. I'll just leave it at that. Obing advises to Strange that he should look through the books of the library and see if there are any sorcerers that have attempted the same thing that he wants to do. And so he finds some information, and he tries to take power. He learns that he needs to take power from these different creatures in order to get enough power for himself to bend time. And so he tries to go for, like, the biggest one right off the bat, which turns out to be the tentacle monster that we've seen in, or that we supposedly seen in episode 1 of What If, with it fighting, what do they call her? Not Captain Britain, Captain Carter. With it fighting Captain Carter, and then also might even possibly be the same monster that was in the movie Shang-Chi, which I also need to talk about at some point, but we'll get there. So I don't know, that Marvel hasn't really made any clear threads if this is the same monster or what this monster even really is, but it does take on a very similar appearance in those 3 instances, so I don't know. So then my next note is that Doctor Strange turns into Cell from Dragon Ball Z. And if you aren't familiar with Cell from Dragon Ball Z, he's basically an enemy that when he's first introduced, he is trying to get as much power as he can, or as he can get. So he absorbs a bunch of people within, I almost called it Palatown. That's Pokemon. I don't even remember the name of the town, but he tries to absorb a lot of people within the town by literally his tail takes them up and pretty much digests them, I guess, which is not exactly what Doctor Strange did. He kind of just, like, took their life force, like, and then it just like moved into his body and he got the power that way. Same premise though. So Doctor Strange is basically Cell. I like Cell a lot, so I'm not bothered by this at all. So after Strange has absorbed an exuberant amount of creatures and gotten the power that he needs, he's just kind of, I guess, sitting with himself like, yes, okay, now the final step can move forward. And the Watcher says, supposedly to himself, or it's supposed to be to himself, like he's going down the wrong path and I could stop him, but it's not worth saving his universe to endanger all of the other ones. And Doctor Strange goes, who said that? Hello? And the Watcher's like, oh crap, closes the curtain. Like, it's kind of funny, their interactions. And their actually continuing relationship after this episode is also pretty interesting as well. Which I kind of like that it carried through. So then in the episode, we switch to the other version of Doctor Strange that was created during the split that the Ancient One did. And in this version, he did not use the time stone to go back and save Christine. He realized that would be wrong and would endanger the universe. So he decided to just drink the night away with Wong and let bygones be bygones. So then when he walks out onto the street in the morning, he sees that like people are disintegrating, the buildings are disintegrating, and the universe is just all kinds out of whack. And first question he asks himself is like, whoa, what was in that whiskey? So then the Ancient One appears before him, and he looks, they look a little bit translucent, kind of like a ghost, because at this point they are pretty much a ghost, because they have died at this point in the timeline. And so the Ancient One says to Strange, like, all this is being caused by you, well, another version of you, and you need to go stop them. Which, in retrospect, kind of seems like a outlandish wish, only because of like where Strange Supreme, which is what the other version of Doctor Strange that absorbed the power, that's what he eventually becomes referred to as a Strange Supreme. It's kind of odd that she would send Strange by himself to go fight Strange Supreme, or I guess nobody else could go with because they were all disintegrating, but I don't know. He needed some extra power to fight back. But yeah, she just sends him on, or she sends him, I guess, to go talk with Wong so that Strange and Wong can prepare some protection spells before they go. And as they're getting ready with the protection spells, we kind of go back to Strange Supreme, where he had left the chamber that he was in, where he was gathering all the power, and he walks out and sees that Obing is super, super old and pretty much lying on his deathbed. He's like, oh, what happened? He's like, you've been in there for centuries, dude. Like, I'm old, it's my time, so don't try and like make me young again. You know, the death is a natural part of this cycle, even in the world of magic. He's like, it doesn't have to be. No, he's like, well, it is for me, dude. Let me go. And with that, you know, Strange Supreme leaves Obing to rest in peace, and he brings Strange down to him. So that's where we have a, quote, really cool magic fight. And it was really cool. I really enjoyed it. I think it was the highlight of the episode. It had lots of different particle effects and a lot of I don't know. It's interesting to see Doctor Strange fight with someone who's on the same caliber and or higher in terms of being a sorcerer, because we haven't seen that quite yet in the MCU, I don't believe. If we have, wasn't very memorable, at least not to me. So to see that, I thought was really cool, and also to see how he would try and outsmart himself, which is like a double layer. Like, you have to outsmart your enemy, but your enemy is also you, so would they think of the same tactics? I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting premise for the fight. But of course, since Strange Supreme was the stronger fighter coming into this fight, he does ultimately end up winning, and he absorbs Strange. He initially didn't want, or I guess he did want to, but he wanted Strange to get absorbed voluntarily, I guess. So that way he's like, we can work together. We could save Christine. That's what Strange Supreme said. And Strange's like, well, as much as I want to do that, we can't. Obviously, it's tearing this universe apart. So it's not something that should be done. We should just let Christine go. She's dead. So he gets absorbed, and then he uses all the power that he's gained to bring Christine back. So Christine, this is actually the site of, I guess, Strange Supreme's most recent loop in this whole accident with Christine. So Christine is sitting in the car that's like hanging over the water. I don't know which body of water it is, so I just say the water. Christine floats out of the car and is revived, but only momentarily, because just like everybody else in the universe that wasn't Strange, she slowly starts to disintegrate too. And he's like, oh my gosh, like, why? Like, I've done all this for her, and I can't even, like, we can't even be together. So it's like similar to what he was saying before he went through this journey to get all this power and get really dark circles under his eyes, and a little pointy goatee. So as this is happening, I think he looks up to the Watcher. And he's like, why can't this be? Like, I don't understand. And the world, or the universe, slowly starts collapsing in on itself until it turns into like a little bubble. And Strange is just, he manages to make a barrier so that bubble won't collapse in on itself. And he has a little mini island / room / I guess the whole world to himself, to be alone, because Christine continues to disintegrate. And Christine's reintroduction to this episode was unfortunately not great for Strange Supreme. She sees this monster before her, because when he summons all the power, he like shapeshifts into all these different things that he's absorbed. She's like, oh my god, like, what the frick are you? Stay away from me. He's like, no, baby, come here. He's like, no, I don't know you. And then when he finally takes on a more familiar form, she's like, oh, like, what did you do? Before finally disintegrating. And then he's just left alone, and it's pretty sad ending. I feel like it's one of the more it's one of the endings that's a little bit more concrete. Like, all the knots are tied. I don't think that's a real thing, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. Like, everything, all the loose ends were cut off. Yes. And so I don't know, it's just a very sad ending, because you don't really see like what else there could be for Strange Supreme, and honestly, there's probably not a whole lot. The universe is literally just a little rock for him now. So he's just hanging out with the Watcher at that point, just speaking with him, because he still has all this power, but nobody to talk to. And that's the saddest ending, or at least one of the saddest endings in the whole series. But I did have a couple little notes here. So in my last review, I was saying I did not enjoy the repetitiveness of what if the Earth lost its mightiest heroes, because we already knew, like, after 2 deaths, like, okay, all the Avengers are gonna die. And I would say maybe 2 or 3 of them died in a like spectacular or surprising way, to where I was like, oh, okay, like, that was different, that was interesting. Like, I would not have predicted they would have went out like that. But for the most part, I felt like they were all kind of like a little bland, just like Hank gets to him and they're like, ooh. And I'm like, okay. But I did enjoy this episode, What a Strange Lost His Heart. And this one is very repetitive, at least as far as the loops are concerned, with playing the same scenario again. But we tried different things. And I think that's why I like it. Even though it's the same scenario, Strange tries to approach it in different ways so that he can get a different end result. And it's not till we get like further on, where this just starts doing like the montage of all the loops happening, that we're like, oh, okay, there is no different end result. She's going to die every time, no matter how like things shake out. But then they do something, which is they offer Strange Supreme a choice of going to the Library of Cagliostro to get the power that he needs to come out with a different ending. And I liked that the loops, for one thing, were surprised because we didn't know what he was going to do next. And then to be like, okay, loops are kind of getting boring. We know what's happening here. And then move on to something different, I thought was also interesting as well. So, I don't know. Maybe it was... Actually, I know it was still repetitive for other people, but it worked for me. Oh yeah, and then my last note, which I literally, after watching this episode for probably like the third or fourth time, I literally just now thought of this. Can he not use his powers to stop these cars that keep crashing into him? And at first I was thinking like, well, if he goes back in time, then maybe he can't like do the thing. But then when he goes to the Library of Cagliostro, this is like right after he had the accident. And so we don't really know if time has moved forward or if it's still like within that instant of like the accident just happened. I want to say the accident just happened and then he gets transported somewhere else, in which case he uses his magic to get through some of the booby traps that are there. I'm like, why not do that to make these cars disappear, these gunmen disappear, or like defend Christine? Like, why not do that? You know? And he had the power to do it, so after I thought of that, I'm like, I don't know if this was planned out as well as I thought. Still a fun episode, but then I'm just like, what? Why didn't he use his powers? So I don't know. Maybe one of you guys has an answer to that question in the comments below as to why he didn't use his powers this whole time until he had to fight somebody, or until he had to like disarm some booby traps. But yeah, other than that, I enjoyed this. I don't know. I don't think I rated the last one, but I can't remember if I've been rating this series this whole time. I'm just gonna skip the rating and say that if you watched this far and you still haven't seen the episode for some reason, even though it's like December, it came out a while ago, like I think even before September, I would recommend watching the series first of all, but I would also recommend this episode, especially if you like Doctor Strange. I'm not a big Doctor Strange fan. I don't dislike him. I'm just like not a big fan, but I still enjoyed it. So I think you guys would have fun with it. But yeah, tell me down in the comments below what you guys thought of this episode, if you had seen the episode, and maybe some theories about the new Doctor Strange movie, since we're approaching that date very quickly. Spider-Man is actually coming out tonight when I'm recording this. I probably won't see it for a while, unfortunately. So the internet will not be my friend for a bit. But hopefully you guys are able to see it, and if you are, I guess you could put just like a spoiler like header up at the top of your comment, and then maybe how Doctor Strange relates to Spider-Man. And then once I have seen the movie, I can read the comment and not spoil it for myself. But yeah, I'm kind of babbling at this point. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new, so that way you can get more of these reviews into your inbox, take control away from YouTube's algorithm. And I hope you all have a nice evening or your night. Whatever's, enjoy it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.